Welcome everyone to the first edition of onboarding with going over the MLS. The first step is really getting to know your ins and outs of how to navigate your way through Steallar. So first step is understanding your toolbar. You have your matrix that would have summary, contacts, auto emails, saved searches, sent emails, CMAs, which we're going to get into. Your search bar, which is probably going to be the one that you use the most. Residential. Income is going to be if I'm looking for duplexes, triplexes, basically anything that's more than one unit, you're going to find an income. Vacant land, self-explanatory. Rentals, if you're looking for rentals, you would have to obviously click on the rental section. But for the most part, you're going to be doing your searches, residential, quick or detail. I'll go into that. Tax. If you come across a property that's not listed on the MLS, you need to get information. You're going to go click on tax, realist, and I'll walk you through that. But pretty much for the dashboard, it's how you set it up, right? Everyone's dashboard could look differently because they allow you to set it up however you want. Mine is pretty much basic. I always like to start off talking about the MLS with Market Watch. Market Watch, if you're brand new, is going to have basically, for instance, I have 60 new listings right now. Yours, if you're brand new, would have probably 300 because it's showing you every property that's in Steallar. Real easy to actually customize it. As you see, I have my mouse floating over it. If you click customize, I have it set up for the properties that if I was selling, for instance, in East Orlando in 32828, have it set up with 32828 zip codes. I look at it in a sense that I only want to see properties that I have clients that are actively searching in. So you could always customize it. You could take zip codes out. You could add zip codes. But truly, I like to think you should customize it just so that you could stay on top of your clients and on top of the market as well. Extremely easy. Your MLS zip codes are all here. Let's say you don't know the zip codes. You could always type in a town. So for instance, if I wanted to add in Winter Haven and I don't know that zip code, I could click on one. I'm using a Mac. If I hold shift and click at the bottom, I could add all those Winter Haven zip codes in there. If you're doing it just like this, where you're typing it in, you're always going to need to use a comma when you're breaking up your zip codes. And that's pretty much self-explanatory. Always make sure that you save it. Go to My Matrix, it always brings you back. The shorthand bar, this is probably another feature that you're going to use all the time. Now, just to let you know, you could always use the MLS number, and you could also do the street address, but never put the prefix down. So, for instance, if you were looking at 12 Banana Drive, for instance, never put drive. You would just put 12 Banana. So no drive, no street, no Ave. If you're dealing with 123rd 14th Street, just put 123 space 14. You don't have to put the TH. And I'll show you an example right now. So for instance, if I type in 435 Chicago Woods Drive, I won't get anything. I take the drive out. I get it right over here. Now it was 435 Chicago Woods Circle, but again, if I did it with circle, I get nothing. I take the circle out, it pops up. So again, never put drive, Ave, street, etc. I think let's do a residential search. So I did residential detail, and we are in 32824, so I'm just going to put our zip code 32824. Depending on what you're looking for, right? If I'm looking for properties to send to my client, all I need to have is active. I don't need to be sending pending or solds. In this case, if we're sending comps, which I'm going to go over in another video, you would. Let's say you're only looking for properties that are traditional sales. So just to let you know, right over here on your left-hand side, special sale provisions, you have auction, bank-owned, government-owned, probate, short sales, and nuns. Your regular traditional sale is going to be none. Now, property style. Your client is looking for a single family home, and they're looking for 3+ bedrooms. They're looking for 2+ baths, and they're looking for square footage heated would be, let's say, 2,000 square feet. If you want for 2,000 and higher, you always have to put a plus. If you want 2,000 and lower, you would do a minus. So what happens if you just put, as far as total bedrooms, 3, 2 bathrooms, and 2,000, you're only going to get 3 twos that are 2,000 square feet. So if your search isn't populating, I could promise that you might have something off over here. And let's say that your price is, your client's price range is 500,000. I would put 500 minus. I don't have to put the full 500,000, just 500 minus. So came up with 7 matches. I click on results. We're going to click a random property, and I'm going to go over how to read this MLS sheet as well. So let me zoom in a little bit. All right, up top you have your county, your subdivision, your beds, your baths. This is 2.5. Anytime that you have one, that's a half bathroom. Your pool, when it says community, it means that there's a pool in the community. There's none that's directly at the house. Property style, single family residence. Total acreage, 0 to less than 1/4 of an acre. When we scroll down, I'm going to show you where you can find the exact lot size. Minimum lease period. This is a big one right here, guys. Minimum lease period, 7 months. So if you have a client that's looking for short-term rentals, this would not be a good property. When you're looking for short-term rentals, you're looking for ones that say no minimum lease period, 1 to 7 days, 2 weeks, something like that. 7 months is not going to be good for a short-term rental. That's more for a long-term rental. Whether it has a garage, yes. Is it attached? Yes. How many spaces? 2. Was it new construction? No. Your total annual association fees. So if it was broken down quarterly, monthly, either way, it's going to let you know what your total amount is. Flood zone. This shows a P/D. We're going to go into that. Flood zone X is there. It's not in the flood zone. Flood zone A and AE. So A as in apple, AE as in apple elephant. Those are flood zones, which means that you will be required to get flood insurance. Why is that important? For your clients that are very particular about their monthly payment, that's going to play into it, because not only do they have regular insurance, they're going to need flood insurance as well. Status. Is this property available? Active. Just because it shows active doesn't mean that's truly available, so always double check with the listing agent. You have your list price, the year built, your special sale. None means it's a traditional sale. ADOM and CDOM. Actual days on market, continuous days on market, 101 days. Heated area. This is what you're going to do all of your comps based on, right? Is going to be heated area. You see the difference between heated and total area? That's going to include your garage, maybe a patio, and total area. Heated area is everything that's actually under AC vents. So as we scroll down, you have, of course, the description. Make sure you look through it. I get a lot of questions sometimes as far as, hey, what type of countertops this is, or do you know anything about this? A lot of times it's going to be explained right in this area. So please look at that. Now this section right here, you're going to need to know a good amount of this, because these are all things that are going to go on a contract. Legal description on the contract. Your tax ID on the contract. Taxes, right? These are all things that I would highlight so that a client knows, hey, what's your taxes, what's your square footage, list price, year built, beds, baths. Lot size acreage, 0.11. Lot size, 4,950 if you wanted to give them the exact square footage number. All right, going down. Over here, you're going to find out all about the property. Central air, electric, sewer, public sewer, water, public. I want you to make sure that you pay attention to that, because if it's on well and septic and you go under contract, you're going to need a well inspection, and you're also going to need a septic inspection besides your regular home inspection. Appliances included. So a lot of these appliances that are included already on the MLS, how it's stated, is already included in your in your contract, but I like to have no gray area. So all I do is I always copy and paste. Now, just to let you know, there's two appliances that aren't built into the contract. It's going to be washer and dryer. So for instance, in this case, it shows that washer and dryer is included. If I was to write a contract up and not add washer and dryer, and on the day of my walkthrough, which usually is going to be the day of closing, if not the day before, I don't see a washer and dryer, and I call the listing agent up and I say, "Hey, where's the washer and dryer?" And the listing agent says, "Hey, I sold it, or the sellers took it." And I say, "Oh no, it's supposed to be included." If it's not on the contract, it doesn't exist, right? Just because it says it on the MLS, if you don't put it on the contract, it doesn't work out like that. So make sure that, again, what do? I just simply copy and paste. All right, moving forward. Community information, community features. It has a clubhouse, a park, a pool, right? It's 130 quarterly, so 4 times throughout the year. Super important is, and it truly doesn't say it right here, we should have a phone number, but at least we have an email. If you have any questions whatsoever about the property, make sure that you do your due diligence and call the HOA, send an email to the HOA. That's where you're going to find out everything, right? The last thing you want to do is, and I'll give you a perfect example. I have a client that's looking to purchase a single family home, and they tell me when I'm speaking to them, Harold, I only want a property that has a fence. I run a dog training company, and I need to have a fence, right? So we go and tour the property. The property on my left, the property on my right has a fence, right? We don't assume in real estate. You never want to assume in real estate. Just because the person on my left, the person on my right has a fence, doesn't mean that they still allow a fence. There's plenty of communities that I've been into that have fences that they don't allow fences anymore, and those fences are grandfathered in. So again, for questions like that, which is a very common question, hey, can I fence in my yard? I'm pretty sure, just let me double check with the HOA, right? That's where I would make sure. Moving on, you have your listing agent, the listing office, original list price. Of course, your realtor remarks, hey, this is currently leased. Home is currently rented into September 30th, 2024. This would not be a good property for a primary buyer. This property could only be sold to an investor. Why is that? Harold, the primary homeowner, right? I'm purchasing this property as a primary residence, and let's say I was purchasing this FHA. I need to occupy this property within the first 60 days. So again, this is just an example, but if this was for primary property, this would not be a good property. Last but not least, you have your escrow company right here. This is going to be on the contract as well. You have to fill this out exactly how it is. Now let's go over some of these tools up here, right? Over here, you could click on here and look at all the photos. We could look at the photos right here, so it's completely up to you. Over here is going to be your view map. I always like to view the map because I want to see where my property line is, right? So for instance, we're right next to the 417, but we're an interior property. But what happens if this was my property right over here, right? You would have to assume that when you're this close to the 417, this is going to play a part in your pricing. And if not in your pricing, your days on market. This is a negative, just what I said, it's a negative feature being so close to a major road like that. So just keep that in mind. Your rate plug. You don't have to do anything with this because I like to say that agents should stay as agents, and you have your loan officers. They could always talk about rates with your clients. This is one of the major things right here. Matching properties history. It's going to let me know anytime this property has ever been listed on the MLS and anytime that there was a status change. So as you could see, this property was new. Let's see. So it was new in August of 2022 for rent. They canceled it. They just stood there, and now it's new, $445,000. This has been on the market now for 101 days with no price adjustment whatsoever, right? When you see something like this, and if, let's say I can't find out why this property is sitting on the market, let's say it shows well, new roof, new AC, there's no problems whatsoever with it. Even if it was in your builder grade basic, no renovations or anything like that, I like to say that that just means that the market is rejecting the price. Attachments, huge, right? When we're writing contracts, we always want to click on the paperclip. That's going to be attachments. That's where we're going to find our disclosures. Seller's disclosure, HOA disclosure. If it's a condo, condo rider. Let's click on what we have here. Seller's disclosure and your HOA addendum. All right, over here, showing time button. I'm going to show you. I'm not going to actually click on it, but if I was to schedule a single showing, I would click here. You have multiple options. One is a go and show. That's when the property is vacant and they give you the code right there. It'll let you know that's a go and show. Two, there's some times where you have to call the agent even after clicking on showing time. Call the agent, schedule if it's occupied. Three, there's going to be different types where it's a calendar. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it'll have going across all the different times. That's where you click on the time and they're going to get back to you through an email and let you know if that property has been accepted for that showing. You have your realist property details. So I'll click on that and I'll show you real quick. All right, here's the property, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. It's already listed. Here's your square footage, your lot size, the year built, type, single family residence. Here's the homeowners, just in case if you ever wanted to write up a contract, you don't know their names because it didn't state on the MLS. Just copy and paste that right there, Kumar. Mailing address. As we could see in the past, this was used as a rental. So homeowner's not here. Your subdivision name, your codes, all of that. Folio strap ID. If I needed to find out anything, can go straight to public records. I click on that. Shows me all the characteristics of this property. Finished open porch. How big's my garage. My building square footage. And it's also going to show, as you see right here, here's the property. This is the MLS number. It's active. 102 days on the market. Here's all the other times it was listed, right? Expired in 07, withdrawn, leased, canceled. And then your last market history. So Kumar bought this property in 2001, which I believe is when it was purchased. So original owner. When it was built, I should say. Yep, exactly. So that's realist for you. And then last but not least that I use, it's the little globe with the eye in it. IMAP tax record. Again, this is where I grab the owner's name, any other information, sales information. Schools, really big, really big. This is what people are going to really decide on, especially if they have kids, if this is an area that they want to be in. You have your school ratings right here. There's another website called greatschools.org. I highly recommend using that one. And again, this is where it's going to tell you your flood zone. This is an X, which means it's not in a flood zone, which is good. All right, let's see what else we got. Also, if I go back to my matrix to the home page, you have these external links, Steallar Central. If I go here and I go over to products and services, it's going to open up a whole bunch of other different tabs, right? Rent Spree, Prospect CRM. You don't ever have to worry about Prospect CRM just for the fact that we have a CRM for you, which is Brivity. Transaction Desk, you don't have to worry about that. One Home Agent Portal, I would get familiar with that. That's what you send your properties through on MLS unless you're sending them through Brivity. Builders Update, awesome. Home Path, awesome. New Home Source, this is probably going to be your go-to right here. Click on it. And again, never assume. What do I mean by that? Let's say I get a new client. They're looking in an area that's 400,000, right? And they the appointment that I got was for 123 Main Street and 123 Main Street is a 2005 build. But I also know that there's new construction in the area for the same amount that this resale is going. I'm going to ask the client if they're interested in new construction as well. The last thing you want to do as an agent is service your client, devote time to them, right? You're showing them for about 2 months. Every weekend you're showing properties. And then one day you get a phone call. Hey, Harold, we were driving around after church and we stopped in a new construction community and we signed up for it, right? The chances of you getting on that contract afterwards is going to be slim to none. So have that conversation. Hey, are you guys only interested in resale properties? Or are you open to seeing new construction as well? Super easy. You could put your city, zip code, community name. This is where you want to go to find out all the builders. So let's say I'm just looking in Winter Haven, for instance. Client's looking in Winter Haven. I put Winter Haven. I'm going to search. And I got back a whole bunch of matches, right? From 315, 480, 318. You're going to see the community names. You're going to also see the floor plan, right? This is the Cascada over here. You got your Everglade. The community names, Villamar Classic Series, where it's located, who's the builder. This is going to be big. Meritage, KB Home, etc., etc. And then, of course, the price. Knowing your areas, new construction is going to be your best friend. Why is it going to be your best friend? You're telling me that I could get almost a 2,000 square foot, 4-bedroom, 2-bath, new construction property for 318,000, excuse me. That's going to be better than most of these resales, and at the same time, a lot of these new construction communities are offering incentives as far as money for closing costs, money for the design center, and the most important one that we see, lower interest rates. Right now, interest rates are floating around the 7, high 9, 7, low 7s, right? It's very hard to compete when if Harold the buyer was looking, my budget's $350,000, I could find a new construction property that's offering a 4.99 interest rate, 5.25, etc. A lot of these new construction companies are offering that. How do you find out? Real easy. Just go to the community website. So for instance, I could go to KB Home, Lake Lucerne, for instance, and it's going to let me know as far as all of those incentives. If there's no incentives, super easy. Call a rep up. They'll be able to help you out. So that's some of the features that Steallar has in the products and services on that main page. Let us see what else we can do. Again, tax and realist. So I have a client that called in. They said, hey, I'm thinking about selling my property. I put 123 Main Street in the shorthand bar and nothing comes up. That shows that they have never been listed on the MLS. I will go to Realist. I would type in their address because I need to get some type of information for that property. So it's that simple to get information. Also, for any agents that do any business in an outside area that Steallar doesn't show. So for example, let's say you take a lead over in the Space Coast, over in Cocoa, right? Most of those properties are on a different MLS, but just because you don't have that MLS doesn't mean that you still can't write an offer on a property. This is going to be a little bit tough, but let's say I just put 123 Main Street right in here. Again, the things that you need information on just because you don't have access to that MLS is going to be legal description, your tax ID, really those two things, maybe one or two other things, but it will all be on Realist. So you'll be able to pull up information from any MLS just right through Realist. Again, it's just a tax record of it. So, but if you have the tax record, you could write up an offer. That's all really that matters. Let's see what else we have here. We touched on tax, Realist, your finance, market reports. Also let you know, let me go over here. If I go to Aura State of the Market, and this is just a simple Google search, right? First thing that pops up is State of the Market. State of the Market always comes out on the 15th of the month of the previous month. So for instance, right? Right now we're in June. It's not June 15th yet, so we don't have for May, but we do have for April. Obviously, go through this yourself. Make sure you read the state of the market, right? April's median home price was recorded at 388,500. We saw an increase in homes for sale, providing a wider selection for potential buyers. Despite the supply remaining slightly over 3 months, homes are selling quickly. I want you guys to always make sure that you understand your months of supply. So right now we're at 3.4 as for the months of supply, which means that if sales stood steady as how they are, within about 3.5 months, there will be no more inventory. Do you think that's a buyer's market, a seller's market? And again, less inventory, more demand, right? Right now, I would still say it's a seller's market, even in a situation that there's higher interest rates, but you could still negotiate on properties as far as for closing costs, on price, things like that. Now, if a property is listed correctly, priced right, I promise you there's going to be less wiggle room because things are still moving. April of 2023, there was only 1.86 months of supply. Anytime we were in that pandemic market, we were actually hovering around less than 1 month of supply. And we know how much fun that was, right? That was multiple offers on every property, waiving inspections, waiving appraisals. Not really a fun market. The minute that we get to around 5-6 months, that's going to be a stable market. The more months of supply, more inventory on the market, it's going to switch over to a buyer's market. All right, we are good there as well. And let me see. That's pretty much it when it comes down to as far as MLS. Now, I could show you other deeper dive videos, but I always like to suggest that you guys end up playing around with it. There's tons of trainings on Steallar MLS. I would show you how you could do auto emails, add your contacts in, but we truly like to do that all through Brivity, through our CRM, so that we're alerted on all of that.